Hey, it's Conrad Thompson, and we are live coming to you talking about Slamboree 1995 on What Happened When with the voice of your childhood, Tony Schiavone. Tony, what's going on, man? How are you?
Hanging in there. How you doing?
Better than I deserve. Excited to be talking to you. 30 years later, we're looking at Slamboree 1995, a Legends reunion. We hope you'll watch along with us. Fire up your Peacock. Go to search for Slamboree. And then you want to look for season 3, episode 1. And Tony, we're going to be starting at 46 minutes and 43 seconds today. Our first match will be Great Muda and Paul Orndorff. So it's Slamboree 1995. Peacock calls it season 3, episode 1. That's season 3, episode 1 of Slamboree. And it starts at 46:43 is where we're picking up today. Tony, we got like 2 hours of wrestling here from 1995. This should be fun.
You know, the idea of Slamboree, if I recall, and I may be wrong, I think again it was Dusty named it. I do believe, but it was an idea to honor the legends of wrestling, to be like a Hall of Fame of the NWA, so to speak, or whatever. And so it's interesting. It was an interesting time. I'm not saying, is this the one that was from Philadelphia?
No, I don't believe so.
Okay, I remember that we had one
in St. Petersburg, and you weren't actually at this one. You missed it because of a neck surgery.
That's right, my neck surgery. I was watching this one at home. I remember that, and I remember we did one in Atlanta.
Yep.
Because I never will forget that Missy Hyatt was doing some interviews, and she interviewed Mad Dog Vachon. And he was talking, and she just took the microphone away from him and started talking. He said, "I am not done talking yet." And I never forget the look on her face when he said that. So that was a good time. So these are pretty cool shows. I really enjoyed these.
Slamboree 93 was at the Omni in Atlanta, the one you were just referring to. The following year, 94, it was indeed in Philadelphia, just as you suspected. But we're back in the South. St. Petersburg, Florida was the home for 1995. And in 96, we would scoot on over to Baton Rouge, Louisiana. 97 would go down in Charlotte, North Kakalaki. That's where they had, what was his name? The football player, Kevin Green.
Kevin Green.
6-man tag. Slamboree 98 was in Worcester. And that's when Eric Bischoff threw down the gauntlet and challenged Vince McMahon. Slamboree 99 was in St. Louis. And the last Slamboree in 2000 was in Kansas City at Kemper Arena. That, of course, is the David Arquette Triple Cage pay-per-view match, the one where we were just 1 year removed from Owens' tragic fall. Ugh. That's depressing. Let's talk about what we're doing today, though. I want you to tune in, watch it along with us. This will be a lot more fun if you're watching along with us. It's Slamboree 95, as Peacock calls it, season 3, episode 1. And we're going to be starting, Tony, today at 46 minutes and 43 seconds. I'm locked and loaded on my side. Are you ready on your side?
Ready to go. You see Mean Gene Okerlund on the screen. If you've hit pause, he just finished talking to the Big Bubba or whatever incarnation he was at that time. In 3, 2, 1, play.
And here we go.
Gene's tuxedo with that striped shirt. How about this crowd, huh? Well, we did it up right for Muda, didn't we?
Dude, the full Monty of an introduction here.
This would be seen as racist now, do you think?
No, I don't think.
Well, I do. In this stupid era that we live.
Well, here he comes, and he's got the IWGP title over his shoulder, I think, right there. Great Muda, as we know as Keiji Muto, is the New Japan World Heavyweight Champion. And the fourth match on the show, he's going to be defending against Paul Orndorff. And they're actually going to go over 14 minutes. Meltzer would say, really dull. I knew it would be bad because Orndorff's slow-paced old style is all wrong for Muto, and Muto is inconsistent to begin with. But it was a surprise just how bad. Muto did his 4 signature spots, which are the power elbow drop, the handspring elbow, the face buster, and the moonsault. But that was the entire match. and he gives it half a star. It is interesting to think, number one, that the champ is out first, and respectfully, that is not a great looking world title. Looks rather small, even on Muto. And what I also notice is, Tony, it feels like these days you would have had Muda in the top right hand corner, so he's facing the hard cam. The way he was positioned, it's like he had his back to the hard cam. I know that's got to be a pet peeve of yours.
Yeah, it is, and it's it doesn't surprise me that in '95 that WCW would have something like this.
Paul Orndorff is out second. I know he is the more recognizable name to these American fans, no doubt. Great Muda, probably a bigger international star, but Orndorff probably more recognizable to the American fans who don't watch Japanese hardcore wrestling or not hardcore wrestling fans for the Japanese product. But him coming out second, that seems to go against tradition, but maybe that's what we're trying to do here is we're trying to be deferential to the legends, and certainly Orndorff is older than Muda. So maybe he comes out last because he's American. Maybe it's because he's on the talent roster, or maybe it's just because he is a legend. I don't know. What do you think he came out second?
Or maybe it's just because we didn't know what we were doing back then.
Well, there's always that possibility.
There's always that. Let's see. So it's 30 years ago. Paul Orndorff passed away. Do you have it right at your fingertips? Not too long ago, right? Like 2022?
I think it was 2021, but I could be wrong. It was 2021, July 12th, 2021.
And how old was he when he passed away?
71 years old.
Okay. So
he
Paul
died in Fayetteville, Georgia. Any other information? He weighed 252 pounds.
No, I was just wondering how old he was here and how in really less than 30 years, how he kind of really went downhill because, we've seen that terrible video that his son posted at how he looked right before he died. And he was just kind of a shell of a person, which was absolutely horrible to watch. And he's so, he's middle-aged here, but he looks so good still.
Yeah.
It just shows you how everybody ages different. Everybody declines differently. Health goes down. But I hate to say this, but every time I see Paul Orndorff, I think of that freaking. I don't want to remember him that way.
You think of the video, you're saying?
I think of the video. I think it was just one of the worst things you could have ever done. Take a look at his age, the traps he's got on him.
Oh, dude, there's no doubt. I mean, he's in phenomenal shape. And listen, if he didn't have, as JBL called it, the gimmick arm, I mean, can you imagine? I mean, he would have been sort of that era's Billy Gunn.
Yeah, right. Exactly. And you have to really know and look to really know he's got a gimmick arm, kind of, to me. I think he did a very good job of trying to make it. And I have a feeling this part right here is like him just working a little bit. In other words, I didn't think that argument with Nick Patrick probably was part of the match, but Paul Orndorff just wanted to get into Nick's face, and they gave it right back to him.
I want to mention that the Wrestling Observer would point out that the announcing of Eric Bischoff was a surprise. He says if there was a pleasant shock in the show, it was that Bischoff did a good job. When the word was out that Tony Schiavone was going to miss the show due to undergoing a neck injury or neck surgery, word is he'll be approximately 4 weeks, but usually guys come back faster than the preliminary word. This surgery had been scheduled for some time, but Schiavone continually postponed it, partially due to Gene Okerlund's health problems, the company not wanting to be minus 2 lead announcers at the same time. Seeing that it was Bischoff taking his place, given Bischoff's previous performances under the gun, it looked like a disaster. But Bischoff made some dull spots almost watchable by trying to get over strategy while the matches were in slow spots. And in matches where kicks were used, his understanding, because of his martial arts background, was superior to any other announcer in this country. He didn't know the holds in a lot of places, but I shudder to think how bad this show would have been with Schiavone based on his recent work. Schiavone has really phoned it in, and he's terrible at his job. Easily the worst announcer of all time. He even has a stinky penis. I tried to go as long as I could. I couldn't help myself.
Only Dave would know I had a stinky penis.
Well, he's got sources.
He's the smartest man in America and was back then. Yeah.
He's got sources.
Mm-hmm.
Something about smegma. I don't know what that even is. But that's what's in the
notes. I don't know what it is either.
Doesn't sound good.
No, it doesn't. There's I can see why this match was not given a great a great rating because there's a lot of stalling going on here.
Yeah, I mean, look at the crowd.
Yeah.
They're not into it, but at the same time, this is an old school Orndorff style.
Mm-hmm.
As a heads up, this is actually, believe it or not, the 8th match that the audience has seen that night. They would see a total of 12, and we're already on number 8.
Mm.
We had several matches that were very short affairs on the main event, which was the live pre-show to try to drive buys, where we would see the Blue Bloods, which is a favorite of ours around here. It was Lord Steven Regal and Earl Robert Eaton in a tag team affair. Then they would pick up a win over Ricky Santana and Fidel Sierra, who were calling themselves Especialista number 1 and 2.
Oh,
Then we saw Steve Austin beat Eddie Jackie. I don't even know who that is, but it took a minute. Sergeant Craig Pittman beat Mark Starr. That took 2 minutes and 2 seconds. And the last match on the main event pre-show was Ming over Brian Pillman. That went 4 minutes and 40 seconds. But then we started the actual pay-per-view, and we started with a pretty good one. The Nasty Boys beating the Harlem Heat to win the tag team titles. Then we would see Kevin Sullivan beat the Man with No Name. I'm thankful we didn't have to watch that one. Then we saw Wahoo McDaniel beat Dick Murdoch. They went 6 minutes and 18 seconds. And now we've got the Great Muda and Paul Orndorff here for the IWGP Heavyweight Championship. Next up is Arn Anderson and Alex Wright for the WCW TV title. And then Ming versus Road Warrior Hawk. And our last 2 matches on the night are Sting and Big Bubba Rogers. And in the main event, the Mega Powers reunite, this time with Hulk Hogan and Randy Savage having Jimmy Hart and the Renegade in their corner, taking on Vader and Ric Flair with Arn Anderson. That, thankfully, is the longest match on the show. But believe it or not, this is the second longest match on the show. And I get it because you have very capable workers in here, but you know, if this was the UFC, they would say styles make fights. And I don't know that this is necessarily the kind of clash that makes a good fight. What do you say, Tony?
No, I don't think it is. I think it's very interesting that, and I think this says a lot about the difference in WCW and the WWF back then, that the man is going to be the biggest star ever, Steve Austin, is fighting Eddie Jackie on this pay-per-view.
On a pre-show.
On a pre-show.
Yeah.
That says everything to me.
Yeah, as a reminder, Brutus the fucking Barber Beefcake, he's on the pay-per-view.
Yeah.
And so is the Renegade on the actual pay-per-view. But Steve Austin, he got to beat the traffic with a 1-minute enhancement match over Eddie Jackie. What's your favorite Eddie Jackie match?
Probably when he went like 1 minute with Steve Austin. It was a Slamboree.
Back in I remember that.
Yeah,
now, was that the one in Atlanta, or am I getting that confused?
No, you're getting that confused. Not the one in Atlanta.
I got you.
Hey, so the one in Atlanta was 93, and that's where I did the show with Larry Zbyszko at last minute.
Now, is that the one where Missy Hyatt was doing an interview and they jerked the microphone? Wasn't finished.
That's right. You remember that?
Oh, that's right. Okay.
Yeah, that's good. That Slamboree, Jesse Ventura got a blood clot in his leg.
Oh.
And could not come to the show. And he was supposed to do the pay-per-view with me in 93. That was right after JR had left. And it was before cell phones back then, or before cell phones we know them now. So he had his wife, Terry, call my house and talk to Lois. And Lois got word to me that Jesse wouldn't be there. So we got Zbyszko to do the show with me. Never will forget. He said, Schiavone. I said, yeah. He said, Terry called the house to talk to your wife to tell you I wasn't going to come, but I didn't know it would be an hour's conversation.
I love that.
He said, run up the phone bill just to say I wasn't coming to work. I said, buddy, that's Lois. She gets you on the phone. You won't get off. But I remember that vividly. And I wonder, this was obviously right before the NWO, or right before Scott Hall arrived.
Yeah, we're Scott Hall would arrive the following May, so we're exactly 1 year later.
I've got a question, and I'll see what you think and see what our listeners think about this.
Okay.
Had Steve Austin come up with the badass Steve Austin that he was, drinking beer,
Mm-hmm.
316, while he was in WCW. Would he have been a bigger star as he would have been as Steve Austin in the WWF?
No chance.
No chance is right. It's a matter of a good gimmick and timing where you are at that time.
Yes. I mean, where you are at that time, said differently, as WCW had Hulk Hogan.
Mm-hmm.
And respectfully, if the WWF had Hulk Hogan and Ric Flair and Randy Savage and Scott Hall and Kevin Nash and I don't know that Steve Austin would have been given the opportunity to really run with the ball.
Yeah, that's
I
the
think
point. Yeah.
I think necessity is the mother of invention.
Mm-hmm.
And so since Vince could no longer afford some of the acts that he had made, he had to go make another one. And that meant giving opportunities to guys that, I mean, just think about how crowded it would get over here in WCW, because Goldberg comes around in 97, DDP gets hot in 97, and you've got Scott Hall and Kevin Nash and the Giant and Ric Flair. Hulk Hogan, the Macho Man. I mean, it's so crowded. Lex Luger, Sting. It's so crowded at the top that it would have been really difficult. I think he may have gotten to that US champ, and he may have had a DDP type level run on top, not taking away anything from DDP, just saying, the way DDP was allowed to be featured in WCW is not the same way that Steve Austin was featured in the WWE.
Yeah. Just interesting about the times and the stars. And
Yes.
now for you, you were probably what, high school age at this time? Or
Yeah,
just,
during this pay-per-view, I was 13 and not watching.
okay, so you were middle school.
I turned 14 the next year, and
Okay.
yeah, so I guess I was in ninth grade.
Okay, then
Or
it'd been
eighth grade. Finished in eighth grade.
yeah.
Yeah. I was about to finish eighth grade going into high school.
Yeah.
These days, of course, I'm just an old asshole watching wrestling with my buddy.
Yeah. With another old asshole.
Speaking of old assholes,
Mm-hmm.
I do want to give a special plug for somebody who is going to live to be a ripe old asshole, because he has dodged danger. He has looked death in the face and somehow managed to walk away. I'm talking about the incomparable Darby Allin, who climbed to the freaking top of Mount Everest. What a freaking story that is. Well, you see there, he took the AEW flag to the top of Mount Everest. I was talking to John Layfield earlier today, and he's climbed several mountains, never dared try to tackle Mount Everest. But he told me that there are actually people who passed away on this climb, and there's no way to get them down.
Right.
So they try to refer to those people as almost markers on the climb.
Mm-hmm.
And he referenced someone named Green Boots. And Efren, friend of the show, sent me a text of a picture of Green Boots. Dude, I knew this was dangerous. I don't think I understood just how freaking dangerous. I'm so glad that Darby did it, and he's okay. My gosh.
It's amazing. He's an amazing person, first of all. Amazing performer.
Yes.
When I say an amazing person, I don't know of anybody that has a better attitude as a wrestler than Darby Allin. And I say that because I've just listened to him talk to other wrestlers and listened to him talk in team meetings and things like that. He's just got the best attitude ever. And I had the feeling that if anybody could do it, it would be Darby Allin that could do it. You talk about the people that have died. I read, I think it was, I did a search on Wikipedia or somewhere, or the facts of Mount Everest. Over 300 people have died on their way up.
Wow.
And they are still there. 300 bodies on the way up. And so, yeah, those are markers. And listen, the odds are you're going to make it, but so many things can go wrong. And I just so glad that Darby made it to the top. He even said, I'm going to plant that AEW flag on there because they meant so much to me. They've done so much for my career. Here's a kid who has mentioned many times, I was sleeping in my car before AEW. And he's a special kid, man. Just, just as I think I think he's unbreakable. I really do.
Well, I hope we don't have to test that because
No.
immediately people are joking. Oh, I hope he doesn't do a coffin drop off the top. Like,
Right.
hey guys, I know that's funny, but this is a
Yeah,
real dude here. Like,
I know.
he
But
has human bones under there.
I know, but he just seems to come out,
Yeah.
and I've seen him many times. We have all seen him many times. Just take an ass kicking and just do some incredible bumps. And every time I go in the back, I say, "Hey," I'll go up to him. I say, first of all, I say, "Thank you for putting your body on the line to give us a good show." I always tell the guys that who do something crazy. And then I say, "Are you okay?" And he goes, "Yeah, I'm fine. I'm fine." And sometimes I think he's bullshitting me, but most time he's okay, you know?
I mean, I've heard reports of him literally crawling to the backstage area.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. It wouldn't surprise me.
I hope he's okay. I hope he makes it down safe. I mean, he is one of the, as you said, most genuinely nice, polite, likable dudes you'll meet in wrestling. There's a lot of great people in wrestling, but Darby Allin's got to be near the top of that list.
Yeah, he's one kid who is in real life to me nothing like I see on TV.
Right.
Just a very nice, quiet young man. And I have a lot of time for him. And I can't wait till he gets back.
Well, I tell you what, I hope that he's got the right kind of footwear up there. I'm talking about Brunt. You know,
Brunt.
choosing your work boots used to mean sacrificing comfort or durability. If they felt good, they didn't last. And if they lasted, well, they wrecked your feet. But Brunt Workwear finally ended that trade off, designing boots that withstand the toughest job sites while feeling as comfortable as your favorite sneakers. The founder, Eric, grew up blue collar, and he started Brunt after his friends in the trades encouraged him to start a workwear brand that was really built for them. And that's why all the Brunt products are named after guys he grew up with. Isn't that a cool story?
Mm-hmm.
They might be the most comfortable work boots on the planet, but they also deliver real performance on the job. Whether you need waterproof, safety toe, or soft toe, pull on or lace up, they got you covered at Brunt. They're so confident that these boots will blow away all of your expectations. They let you try it on the job risk free. And right now, for a limited time, our listeners can get $10 off at Brunt with the code WHW at checkout. Just head on over to Brunt Workwear and use the code WHW and you're all set. Now, after you buy, do us a favor. When they ask you how you heard about Brunt, tell them it was from our show. And these Brunt boots come comfortable right out of the box. A lot of the other work boots you're going to know have to have a significant break-in period. That's not the case here. And Brunt's more than just boots. They've got all your high-performance gear for the workplace. Brunt didn't just make a durable work boot. They reinvented comfort for the hardest workers out there. And for a limited time, our listeners can get $10 off at Brunt by using the code WHW at checkout. Just head on over to bruntworkwear.com, use the code WHW, and you're all set. Again, once you purchase, they're going to ask you where you heard about them. Please support our show. Tell them we sent you. Speaking of working boots, Arn Anderson's got his working boots on as we're seeing a nice little package here. Getting ready for his match with a young upstart, Alex Wright. And Alex Wright, from all intents and purposes, was supposed to have a different career path than the one he got in WCW. Do you think it was just the medical event? I think it was an aneurysm that sidetracked it all. I mean, what a talent he was, and starting so young with you guys.
And he was very, very handsome. And I thought that, I thought that he would have a different career trajectory, but you never know. Oh, good. Take a look at Ric Flair.
I mean, yeah, Ric Flair looks like he is a comedy character at this point. I mean, the look here, I don't even know how you would describe this with the shorter hair, big gold aviators, the white t-shirt, the double-breasted jacket, the khaki pants. Like, he looks like he's from a straight to DVD movie. Or I guess it would have been straight to home video cassette back then.
I want to say something about that Muda match to kind of wrap it up. Muda does a moonsault for the finish.
Yes.
People really pop because you didn't see many moonsaults back then.
Right.
And now it's just another high spot. Isn't it amazing how things have changed?
How about Vader with the multicolor here? Normally we see red and black, but how about that? Is that a stripe of blue or purple or what is lavender? What is that color?
It looks purple to me. Yeah.
It's a little weird.
Little V on it, right?
As a reminder, New Japan has had a renewed relationship with WCW in this era. They did that event in North Korea called Collision in Korea that was filmed the prior month here in April of 95. It wouldn't air until August, but still, they did it and set a legitimate attendance record. And part of that deal meant that we would get the world title defended here on a WCW pay-per-view. So that was the payoff. And now we're seeing Flair and Arn and Vader do a promo with Mean Gene. And you see a few times it looks like Rick was whispering into Mean Gene's ear, trying to get him to pop.
Oh, he and Mean Gene were big buddies back then. Yeah, he called him Doctor.
Terry Funk here talking about what it means to be put into the WCW Hall of Fame. He's going to name drop some legends, including his brother Dory. He says he doesn't feel like he can fill their shoes or go toe to toe with any of them, but he sure is honored. And even Meltzer would say that they did a really great job. He says the Hall of Fame segment, even after a night of bad matches, I almost wanted to give the show a thumbs up just because of how classily they handled this. Granted, the whole idea of a pro wrestling Hall of Fame has its inherent problems and turns into honoring loyal office employees or family members, and those who are deserving as performers are often ignored due to political reasons. But this was the best part of the show, partially because you were taken away from the fact that the show was so bad. The only negative was Angelo Paffo's speech saying he wished the Monster Maniacs the best. And it was like a sudden jolt back into the reality that this product is so bad. The segment where it appeared that Gordon Soley didn't know he was being inducted was not as spontaneous as it appeared, as everyone knew beforehand. I wanted to ask you about that. Did you know that Gordon Soley was going in, and do you think he knew?
I knew, and I think everybody wanted to be a surprise for him. That I recall. Of course, my recall from 30 years ago is not that good, as you know.
Yeah.
But I really think he was surprised. We all really, and this I do remember, and this is true. I think we all were so honored to be in his presence.
Yes, for sure.
Because he was just around and made it seem legit. Gave me a couple of words of advice that I still use to this day. And I think it was classy that we still used him. And I know I got to work some worldwide matches with him. And I did the play-by-play. He did the color. And I remember afterwards, he said, that really felt good. I said, yeah, I liked it. And it didn't last. And I can't tell you why it didn't last. But Gordon and I did a couple of episodes of Worldwide together. And I was thinking, wow, how great is this? I've worked with JR and I've worked with Gordon Soley, right? Can't beat that. So I from best I remember, we just made it a surprise for him.
I do want to spend a few minutes here to talk about the first recipient of the Gordon Soley Award in the TNT Hall of Fame. And that, of course, was the voice of wrestling, Jim Ross. And most people, depending on how old you are, when you think about the voice of wrestling, you think of three names in this particular order: Gordon Soley, Jim Ross, and Tony Schiavone.
Wow.
And of course, you're the most recent recipient of that award.
Yep.
But Jim Ross has revealed publicly last week, since you and I recorded, that he was recently diagnosed with colon cancer.
Right.
And you and I knew that he was battling some health issues, and we didn't know the specifics, but within 24 hours of Jim learning the exact diagnosis, I think he took to social media and shared with the world. And I know he hasn't been very active or responsive to text messages and phone calls, and I get it. He's probably processing a whole lot. So I want to ask that everybody listening to this probably considers Jim Ross either the voice of wrestling at worst, or at best, their Uncle Jim. And I hope that you'll throw one up for good old JR, because he surely does need our thoughts and prayers right now. Life's thrown him one too many curveballs with Bell's palsy. Then he had that intestinal issue. And then famously, of course, his wife passed away very tragically. Then he had the terrible spot on his leg, and he's just had a rough go of it, man. And he needs a break. And we're hopeful that this surgery that I believe will happen within the coming weeks is going to do the trick. So I'm going to pray for a speedy recovery and a full recovery, and that Jim is back doing what he loves sooner rather than later.
You listed all the health problems that he has had throughout his career, but he has not let that slow him down.
Not one bit.
And some of his best work was after the Bell's palsy first struck.
Yes, sir.
And I mentioned this on a social media post. Jim Ross is my mentor. He got me my first big contract ever. I was making, just to be very honest, I was making $15,000 and a year with Crockett Promotions. And he got me six figures. Now, if you go from $15,000 to six figures in one day, it is like
life-changing.
Yeah, it's life-changing. And he's responsible for that. And that I'll never forget.
Wow.
And also he also taught, Jim, you know how great a talker Jim is on the air. We all do. But just hang out with him and listen to him talk when he's rolling.
Yes.
He has such great advice on careers and how you should approach your business and how you should be a wrestling announcer. And he taught me a lot when he first arrived in 1987. And when I say Jim Ross is my mentor, fans may say, oh, he's bullshit. No, it's true. He was. Now, yeah, I was announcing wrestling before I started working with Jim Ross, but I really don't think I really got it until I started working with JR.
Wow.
So that's what he means to my career. And that's why I was so happy to be standing with him on October 2nd in 2019, doing shows again on TNT. And I know his health has been bad. I know he's battled it, but we've had a lot of fun with him backstage at AEW, and hopefully we still can in the years to come. And we are praying for Jim. No doubt about it. We are praying for him, and I went to Mass just yesterday, praying for Jim.
We've been celebrating Sabu in recent weeks with the news of his untimely passing. Last week we did a whole Sabu episode, and it was phenomenal. We got to see a little bit of everything. We had a fantastic conversation the following morning with some members of his circle of friends. Jerry Lynn joined us. Rhino joined us. Of course, we had Al Snow, the Blue Meanie, and they told stories about the real life Terry Brunk. We all know what he did in front of the camera, but the way he treated his peers and the young guys and the way he tried to pay it forward and look out for them and stand up for the boys. We heard stories that have never made the light of day because Sabu would do things for people and just keep it to himself. He didn't need a pat on the back or a public high five. And it was really, really touching stuff. And if you're looking for more Sabu content, I want to recommend you go check that out over at podcastheatwrestling.com. We did it live last Tuesday morning, but you can still go enjoy it anytime at podcastheatwrestling.com. But as I was doing some research last week, Tony, as we we're getting ready to talk about Sabu, I came across a picture that I said to myself, I bet $1 Tony Schiavone has never seen this photo, and it almost looks like a Garbage Pail Kid. It feels like AI. It doesn't feel real. It feels like a video game character. Mm-hmm. It feels like he's a villain in Street Fighter, or he's got a beef with the Super Mario Brothers. And it's your friend, Taz. Take a look at this photo. How great is that?
Wow. Holy shit.
How would you describe this early? And listen, there was a trend last week where people were saying, post your first promo pic in wrestling so you can show the world the evolution of your character. And not everybody starts Hollywood. You have to evolve. And this is one of the first versions of Taz. What do you think of this?
It looks like a tough guy walking down the streets of Brooklyn saying, get in my way, I dare you. Doesn't it?
Yeah, no doubt.
I mean, Jesus.
He looks like he was looking to pick a fight.
He was looking to pick a fight, or he was looking for you to pick a fight.
Yeah.
He was just looking for a fucking fight. Take a look at the traps on him. Holy shit, man.
No, dude, he's jacked.
He is jacked.
But like when you see the sort of tie-dye tank top
Mm-hmm.
and the crazy haircut
Yeah.
and the little skinny mustache and the necklace, and then I mean, how would you even describe those S&M wristbands?
You know what? You know what comes across me more than anything?
What's that?
The fucking eyes.
Oh yeah, for sure. Because it
You
looks
know
like
what?
he's
That-
looking right at you, like that
Yes.
picture of Jesus in your grandma's house, where you went, it followed you.
Yeah, it's actually looking like he's looking right fucking through you.
Yeah, he probably is doing that to me right now if he knows that I'm showing you this photo. Connie, we got heat, brother. I'm gonna dump you on your fucking fat neck next time I see you.
He shouldn't be pissed off at that picture. That's a badass picture.
It is a badass picture.
Yes, it is. But yeah, it does look like somebody who would be like the boss in a video game in level 35, right?
Yes. It looks like in order to win Mike Tyson's Punch Out, you got to go through that guy.
That's right.
By the way, if you want to go through Taz, you got your chance this weekend. Double or Nothing from Glendale, Arizona. We're going to get to the bottom of this Owen Hart men's tournament finale. It's Will Ospreay versus Hangman Adam Page. You got a prediction here? Is it going to be Ospreay or Hangman Adam Page getting the title shot at All In?
Well, I would like to. I would, at first glance, I would say Ospreay, but I don't know, man. Hangman has been so good as of late.
And you think about, just the theme of All In. It's a freaking belt buckle. So it does feel like it's time for some cowboy shit with Hangman Adam Page.
First of all, I'd like to add on to this that anytime you ask me about who I think is going to win a match, I don't know who's going to win the match. Okay, I have no idea.
They haven't fought yet, Tony. How would we know?
Well, I know, but what I'm saying is, fans. Oh, he's going the other way because he knows who's going to win. No, I don't. I really don't. You know why? Because I don't want to know. I know what the matches are. When I get to the arena, if they tell me, "Hey, we're going to do this. We want you to say this," then I'll know. A lot of times, I don't know.
Let me ask you this: should I even bother running through the matches and shield the pay-per-view for you? Or
no, you can do that, but I think ask me who he thinks going to win. I think you're wasting time.
Okay, here's a photo of Mercedes Moné and Jamie Hayter.
They must be going. They must be going to the finals of the women's tournament in Glendale, Arizona, and that's going to be the winner will go on to face Timeless Tony Storm at All In,
assuming she's still the champion.
Assuming she's still the champion. I don't think she has.
She's defending the title this weekend against
Mina Shirakawa. Yes, of course. See, I don't even know the freaking card.
Show them another slide.
Show them another slide. Next slide is. Oh man, I hope that Nigel McGuinness and Danny Garcia beat that Furter. OFTR. Furter.
Next.
Oh, stretcher match. Next. Woo. Rednecks against some badasses.
Tony, not everybody's watching on video. Try to say their name when you can.
Okay, Sons of Texas, which would be Dustin and Sammy Guevara against the Hurt Syndicate.
Next.
Anarchy in the Arena. Well, John Moxley said on Collision this weekend, we accept, and there we go. So we're going to have Anarchy in the Arena, which means it's going to be fucking wild. You know what that means? It probably means the announce desk is going to be destroyed again.
It probably means tickets are on sale now. AEWTIX.com.
Love Double or Nothing.
It's going to be a fun show. Double or Nothing is really the origin AEW pay-per-view.
Yes, it is.
It all started in 2019, and you were there in the front row, and now you're inside the guardrail. All your dreams have come true. Mm-hmm. It's live on pay-per-view. Order now on Triller TV.
Mm-hmm. Not all my dreams have come true. Professionally, they have, but not all my dreams have come true.
Well, Harley Cameron's going to be in town, so you don't know. It could come true this weekend.
Nope, that wouldn't be it. But thank you very much.
Oh, really? You got something else you want to? What are your dreams? Tell us about your dreams, Tony.
Winning the lottery.
Oh, fuck
opening up a big dog shelter. That would be my dream. Having all dogs not be put to sleep. That would be my dream.
What, you're just going to feed them speed and keep them awake? You'll never let them rest?
No, just, I just don't like dogs being put to sleep because there's a roll at 1, 2. Oh, I just don't like having dogs put to sleep because they're out of room for them. And you can't save them all, but you can give it a shot. That's my feeling.
All right.
All right.
Thanks for that.
Yeah, no problem.
Arn Anderson won.
Hmm.
What'd you think of the match, Tony?
I loved the finish where he did like he was going to punch him and then did a DDT out of it. The fans popped out of it. A lot of the fans in the front row with the 4 horsemen sign. It was a very good match. And it shows you that still a young kid like Alex Wright, who is athletic enough, can follow a great strategist like Arn Anderson, who obviously called the match and can give Arn a great match, or Arn can make him. Now we're watching the replay where I think you and I are just about the same place. You're a little bit ahead of me. They showed the spine buster. They showed the catapult. Then they showed the fake and the DDT and the win. That was cool. Very, very cool.
Speaking of cool, it's cool of everybody to show up and hang out with us tonight. We greatly appreciate our live studio audience. I know Jason Taylor's here. Bad Money Slim is here. Bryant's here. Devin's here. Rajiv. Darren Staley. Brian F. is here. Antonio Santos. Yambag. Coach Rosie. Dave McClay. It's a who's who, man. People are hanging out and having a good time watching some 30-year-old wrestling with us tonight. How about that?
That's some great stuff, man.
John Hamilton's here.
John Hamilton out of South Kakalaka. I'm getting some aches and pains in my old age, Conrad.
Is your dick aching?
No. There's nothing about my penis that aches.
Well, not anymore, thanks to our friends at Blue Chew. Blue Chew Max is here. It combines the active ingredients of Viagra and Cialis into one chewable. Think of it as like a hot tag for your wiener. This is exactly what Tony Schiavone needs to dick his wife down right, and it's exactly what you need to dick her down too. I mean, your own wife, not his.
Wiener, hot tag, hot.
Blue Chew is
He just
free.
dropped down. He dropped down off the apron, buddy.
Give
me some Blue Chew, okay?
First month of Blue Chew is how much, Tony?
Free.
That's exactly right. And great sex is just a few clicks away. Go sign up at bluechew.com. It's going to hit you harder than Ming. And you consult with one of their licensed medical providers. And once you're approved, you'll receive your prescription within days. Blue Chew's tablets are made in the USA, prepared and shipped directly to your door. And the best part is it's all online. That means no visits to the doctor's office, no awkward conversations, and no waiting in line at the pharmacy. Just real hard dick. Coach Rosie's with us here live, and he says, I got my wife Blue Chew for Mother's Day. How about that? Antonio Santos says he's got a curved wiener. Maybe you should see a doctor about that. Make your life easier by getting harder and discover your options at bluechew.com. We've got a special deal for our listeners. Try your first month of Blue Chew free and use the promo code WHW. Just pay $5 shipping. That's promo code WHW. Visit bluechew.com for more details and important safety information. And we thank Blue Chew for sponsoring today's podcast. Tony, this is about to be badass. We got Road Warrior Hawk wrestling against Ming here. It's a singles match. But when Road Warrior Hawk comes out with the crazy hair, the crazy face paint, jacked to the gills, and these classic spiked shoulder pads, all I can think about is in an alternate universe, and don't get me wrong, it was so great what they did as a tag team. But this guy was a top single star waiting to happen. Was he not?
Yes, he was. As a matter of fact, Ric Flair faced him, I think, at the very first Bunkhouse Stampede in Long Island. The same night they had the cage match, Flair and Road Warrior Hawk. Everybody knew that Road Warrior Hawk had the potential to be a big-time star. He had the look. He had the talk. He was a badass. And we have two legitimate badasses in right now, which is always fun to watch, because
Absolutely.
you think, is one of them going to get mad?
Yes.
And if they do, what's going to happen?
Meltzer would say Hawk's entrance drew the first big pop entrance pop of the show. Even with the angle before the show, the match got no heat once the bell rang, except when Hawk popped up after Ming's pile driver. Hawk's offense looks bad, and his ability to sell is legendary. They did a pull apart afterwards. Two recognizable faces in the pull apart were Ricky Santana and Jeff Gaylord. And he gives it a quarter star. So here's the pile driver, and let's see just immediately. Hawk is on his feet before Ming. That's amazing.
Yeah. It is.
Yeah, in an alternate universe, dude, can you imagine like Hawk versus Hulk Hogan if Hawk was a heel? Like Hawk versus Hulk Hogan at a WWF pay-per-view and say 87, 88, 89, 90. That's super believable.
Damn right it is.
And even, here, I mean, I know they went with Sting in 90, and certainly in 91 they went with Luger. But like in 89, Hawk could have beat Flair for the big gold belt and fans would have bought it.
Well, of course they would have.
Would have been great.
Yeah, I don't see why they didn't do it. I mean, nothing. Listen, Ronnie Garvin was great, but if you're going to give Ronnie Garvin a shot, why not give Hawk, right?
Oh yeah, for sure.
Yeah. So smart me up here. Where's Animal this time? Something wrong?
This is when he's off doing he's faking the back injury to collect the Lloyds of London money.
Oh, well, there you go.
Rajiv is with us here live, and he says, does Tony believe when they would do pre-shows for pay-per-views in WCW that actually led to some buys? If so, does he think it was substantial enough to continually do the pre-shows? 1, 2,
I don't know.
3. Tony Schiavone's frozen. Maybe he'll get the internet going again here in a minute.
Does he think it was substantial enough to continually do the pre-shows then?
Did it sell any fucking pay-per-views, Tony?
I don't know. I don't know the numbers. If it's sold any, but you always got to do a pre-show. You always got to give it a shot. I mean, you've got the lights, you got the cameras, you got the ring, you got the crowd. You might as well get them warmed up for the show and have a pre-show to get some buys. If you don't, you're doing something wrong.
So you believe in it? You think it worked?
I think the effort works. Whether it really works or not, I don't know.
Bryant says, JR said he wanted Muda to be the world champion and build around him when he came to WCW, but WCW wouldn't because he was foreign. Do you think Muda would have been a dominant champion in WCW? So if you think back to, we'll call it 1989, do you think they could have went with Muda as a foreign heel champion and have baby faces chasing?
Yes, I do. I don't know if he could have been a dominant champion, but he would have been a good one.
Yes.
And he would have had a good run, and there would have been some great matches out of it. I really believe in that. And again, Muda in his prime was basically during the time I was in the WWE. And that wasn't the greatest shoulder tackle in the world, but what the hell? But yeah, I thought he would have been a good champion. Dominant champion, I don't know.
Talking about our conversation earlier about what ifs, you asked about Stone Cold and you said, hey, if he would have stuck around WCW and come up with Austin 316 and middle fingers and beers and all that, would he have been as successful in WCW? And that led to Devin Dowling saying, what if Stone Cold jumped to face the NWO in 1998? Now, hypothetically, once he'd become the world champion and gotten the rub off of Mike Tyson, if somehow, some way, Vince let Stone Cold slip away towards the end of the year.
Yeah.
And he wound up jumping over to WCW.
Yeah.
I could totally see him running roughshod around WCW at that point once he was established. But I think that was the key, is that he was never going to become that star with WCW, not because he didn't have the talent, just because I don't believe he would have been given the opportunity.
Right. Because of Hulk Hogan being the star in WCW.
Yeah, I mean, respectfully, it was tried and true, and it worked. I know that people really hate Hulk Hogan to these days. I get it, don't care. But I'm just saying, like, the reason the business turned around is Hulk Hogan turning heel.
Of course.
Everything changed because of that. So, I know that eventually Stone Cold's numbers would eclipse Hogan, but without Hogan turning heel and becoming the leader of the NWO, I don't know that any of that shit ever is given an opportunity to flourish. I could be wrong, but it's what got WCW so hot, and it's what had Vince start trying new things. And I know some people like to be revisionist about this, but as a reminder, when they brought Steve Austin into WWE, he was running around with Ted DiBiase as his mouthpiece, carrying the $1 million belt.
Right.
$1 million champion wasn't ever going to do shit. But that's what Vince saw for him, the ringmaster.
Right.
He wasn't the ringmaster. He needed to be Steve Williams with the volume turned all the way up, and we got there.
Yeah.
Antonio Santos says, this is a hard-hitting question. The kinds I know you love, Tony. Would Tony rather have a smelly hog or swamp ass? Would you rather your dick stink or your asshole, Tony?
Well, I think most people's asshole stinks, doesn't it?
No, not true.
Oh, I didn't know.
Yeah. I've run across a few that did not.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, unlike you, I don't go around sticking my nose up people's asses, so I don't know.
When was the last time you got down there and really gave Lois a good sniff? Just
no, never.
No, you just got real serious. Never. So immediate. I love you for that. Coach Rosie wants to know, Tony, what's the highest mountain you've climbed?
Kennesaw Mountain. No, actually, that's not true. I climbed. You're going to like this one, okay?
Girl in college?
No, you're going to like this because I know how you think. Not going to say it.
No, you have to. You can't do that. That's against the rules, Tony.
Look up on the internet. Put in your Google machine.
I'm ready. I got the Google out.
What's the highest mountain in Virginia? It's Mount Rogers, right? Is it Mount Rogers?
Mount Rogers.
Yeah, what's the second highest?
What's the second highest mountain? How about White Top Mountain?
Okay, that's still not it.
What about awesome Beartown?
No.
Beartown Grave Mountain?
No.
Point Lookout Mountain?
No.
Elliott Knob?
That's it.
Okay. Well, it took us a while. Fuck. All right. So the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. The seventh highest mountain. Oh, Elliott Knob.
So if somebody asked you to say, what's the highest mountain you climb? I would have said Elliott's Knob. You would have said, what?
Yeah. Here's the best part. If you just pull it up in your Google machine and you go to Wikipedia, it says Elliott Knob is a popular day hike of 14 miles for Boy Scouts who attend Camp Shenandoah.
That's it.
Did you go up there with some Boy Scouts?
No. There's we've just been up there many times, and it's a pretty good view from up there. By the way, here's Gordon Soley, and I guess they're doing the inductions into the Hall of Fame.
That's right. This is indeed the Hall of Fame. Mm-hmm. You know, the Montesano Mountain, my house you've been to a few times in Huntsville. Mm-hmm. It was only 1,600 feet, but the Elliott Knob that you climbed,
mm-hmm.
that was 4,463.
Yeah.
So I guess what we're saying is your knob was bigger than mine.
It's a pretty spectacular. Well, you know what? Okay, I'm going to take that back. All right. Keith Mitchell and I, back in the WCW days when we were running Denver, we went there for a couple of days. We went up to Rocky Mountain State Park. And I don't know how high we went, but we went up and there was snow on the road, and there was this place where you stop your car and you walk. And I remember walking up there and looking out through the mountains there. You get a sense of how insignificant in this world you really are compared to the vastness that this world is. And I think that was probably the highest mountain I've ever climbed, or the highest I've been up.
Tony, as you and I are recording today, it's May 19th, and 35 years ago was Capital Combat. I think that would have been your first pay-per-view back with WCW. That's the RoboCop one.
Yeah.
And there was a match that was 6th on the card that night with the Rock and Roll Express wrestling the Fabulous Freebirds. At the time, that was Michael Hayes and Jimmy Garvin.
Uh-huh.
And one of my favorite accounts to follow over on Twitter is On This Day in WWE. And they explain a corporal punishment match between the Fabulous Freebirds and the Rock and Roll Express. What could possibly go wrong? Being WCW, someone reportedly bought cat o' nine tails from a sex shop instead of leather belts. And then, great close personal friend of the show, not that Tom Green, says the story I heard is that it was David Crockett. And a lot of people are saying, oh, yeah, I read that on some message boards. Have you heard this before? That instead of using regular belts, they were using sex shop cat o' nine tails leather gimmicks.
Mm-hmm.
And B, that, like with a lot of the props and set pieces, that fell under David Crockett's purview. Do you think David Crockett went down to Sultry on South Parkway to the dildo store and picked up something for Michael P.S. Hayes?
No, I don't.
I don't either.
I think that David would have not left the arena to go buy something. He would have had somebody go buy something. Does that make any sense to you?
Yeah, absolutely.
I mean, we had a lot of guys who worked with David, under David, in set design or whatever. But the things you hear online. So, Conrad, I was saying, as they're inducting Terry Funk right now into the Legends Hall of Fame.
Yes.
Which Wahoo McDaniel came in, and Wahoo was sweating profusely. Wahoo looks kind of odd holding a bouquet of flowers.
By the way, he's 57 and he's just wrestled Dick Murdoch for 6 minutes and 18 seconds, just a couple nights prior to this.
Right. He's something else, man. God, what a man's man.
What do you think about Terry Funk with the dress headband? Isn't that great?
Yeah, it is. Yeah, he looks cool, man.
Got the old school wrestler's pinky ring on, got the earring in to let you know he's a renegade. Just about the coolest dude that ever lived.
Wahoo no longer with us. Gordon no longer with us.
Yeah, tell us who all's dead, Tony. I know how you love
Funk no longer with us. My career no longer with us. Hey, so Conrad, I was saying before that I'm hurting a little bit.
Oh yeah, tell us about that.
I've got knee problems and ankle problems, and well, I've been working out. I've been lifting weights.
Wow.
And I've been doing it since the 1st of April under the guidance of my good friend Nigel McGuinness, who he and Johnny TV both set me down and talked to me that you need to be active, lift weights, or the older you get, the worse your body's going to be. So I've taken their advice, and I've got QT, who's a good friend, that I ask him a lot of questions about it. So I'm just wondering if all this weightlifting is what is causing my body problems, because not only do I lift weights every other day when I'm in town, some days I have to go 2 days because we're out of town on Wednesdays, but I walk 2 miles every day with the dogs when I'm in town. I have 5 dogs. I walk each of them individually up to, and I put 2 miles on it. So I've been doing a lot of working out, and I just wondered that if I'm too old to be doing this shit, or if I got arthritis, or I don't know.
I think it's your body just adjusting. Stick with it, Tony. Keep after it. Oh, look at there. Look at the guns. I feel like there's a little bump right there in the middle.
There's a little bump right there. Oh, man. See, I had, oddly enough, I had neck surgery at this time, right?
Yes.
And I had very serious nerve damage, and I still have pain that runs right down the biceps on either side all the time. My neurologist told me that I was always going to have this pain because I have scar tissue on my spine. So it's very difficult for me to do curls. And he also, my surgeon said, Mr. Schiavone, you are never going to get anything out of lifting weights. So this was back in 95. He told me this. So I advise you not to do it. but I said, fuck it. Nigel has convinced me to do it, and I'm going to do it. So there you go. So maybe next year, this time, if I'm still alive and at age 67, you never know. Maybe I'll be Paul Orndorff Jack with big traps. Is Angelo Poffo still with us?
No.
Yes. Okay. Wow.
Did you really think he had outlived Lanny and Randy?
No, you just said, tell us who all died. You can look at Angelo cut a promo here, buddy. Oh my God. You know who just gave him that trophy?
No, who was that?
Annette Yoder.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Yeah.
By the way, Antonio Inoki is next.
Oh.
They're going to misspell his name on the graphic. Anoiki, which is not how you spell Inoki.
Well, they're spelling it Inoki
phonetically. No, that's fine right there. But the original version that they had on the graphic,
okay, all right,
maybe they fixed it in post. But the pay-per-view version, according to Dave Meltzer, shows how it was. The graphic was embarrassingly misspelling his name.
Yeah.
Dusty Rhodes is going to be out next, and he's going to get a big reaction in St. Pete. I don't guess that's any big surprise, being the old Florida territory. John Hamilton is with us here live, and he says, if you could go back in time, but only pop into the mind of your old self, and you were on the mic for Nitro, what message would you send to Tony Khan and Excalibur, and would you MF Taz?
Wow.
So if you had the ability to time travel and you find yourself on TNT, you're going to be able to communicate with Tony Khan or Excalibur or Taz. Is there a message you would send to them through TV, Quantum Leap style?
Well, that's kind of hard, spur of the moment to come up with something like that. I don't think I'd MF Taz. But you know, I've talked so much about. They're showing some of the footage from North Korea here now. I think I've talked so much about JR being my mentor, but I think I've really learned a lot from Excalibur about how important it is to call holds and no holds, and I still don't know him like he knows them. I think it adds legitimacy to what we're doing. But I don't know. I'm sorry. I wish I could come up with something.
Antonio has a question I know you'll love. Who would win a hog-off sword fight, Ric Flair or the Colonel Robert Parker?
Well, that'd be. I haven't.
Sword for sword. They're going to go
to probably Colonel Robert Parker. Do you guys understand now that Antonio Santos's comments and questions are only things from the gutter?
Yes.
Yes.
Rajiv has late breaking news. He's given us a heads up that 411 Fuck Sheet is already preparing to post the headline tomorrow. Tony Schiavone admits to climbing Elliot's knob.
Okay.
Dave McClay says, who else made one wrestling company big as a good guy and another company as a bad guy besides Hulk Hogan? That is interesting because, you know, he was the biggest babyface in WWF history, and then he became the biggest heel in WCW history, totally changing both companies. I mean, they went from a Bob Backlund promotion to a global promotion in the WWF with Hulkamania running wild and the red and yellow and saying your prayers and training hard and eating your vitamins. And then, of course, in WCW, man, you fans can stick it, brother. NWO for life changed the entire wrestling business. Hogan did it not once, but twice.
Yeah.
And I know that these days that's not popular to say, but shit, man, that's just the way it happened.
That's facts, man.
Big John Studd going in here. Unfortunately, I don't think he's with us at this point. Maybe he is, but I think his son is actually going to accept on his behalf. Let me see. Okay. When did Big John Studd go down?
I never met Big John Studd, but they said he was really, yeah, there's his son. Was really one of the nicest guys ever.
He had just passed away, damn it. March 20th, 1995, and a pretty young fellow, only 47 years old.
Wow. I think Chuck Connors was his real name.
No,
It wasn't? Did he wrestle as Chuck Connors then?
no, no. He did. He wrestled as Chuck O'Connor.
Chuck O'Connor.
His real name is John William Minton.
Okay, Chuck O'Connor. That's what I'm thinking.
The
Okay.
Mighty Minton, Executioner number 2, Chuck O'Connor, Captain USA, and Big John Studd.
Yeah.
But John William Minton.
Well, remember Big John Studd? He wrestled in Mid-Atlantic Championship Wrestling for a short time.
How about that?
Yeah.
Dusty Rhodes is kind of low-key be the main event here after we get this induction speech here from Big John Studd's son.
Mm-hmm.
Real quick, want to mention the NBA basketball playoffs are here. I'm freaking fired up about it. I'm talking about our friends at Prize Picks. I've had so much fun with Prize Picks this basketball season. And right now, with them being down to the championships, man, it's really heating up. And it's so easy, really, to do this. All you got to do is pick a player and then a stat line, and you're going to pick like more than or less than. It really is that simple. But if you take a look even at baseball, which is getting hot right now, like what I like right now is Eric Fetty. And you take a look at him, and I would say he's going to have more than 2.5 pitcher strikeouts. And if you take a look at Spencer Torkelson, I'm saying that he's going to have a 5-hitter fantasy score, and I'm going to say he's going to have less. And that's all I did. That's all I got to do. I'm locked in. I'm ready to roll. And I can win a boatload of cash. Yeah, a boatload. Here, how about up to 2,000x your cash? It's been a lot of fun all season long. All of my friends are doing it, and they make it so easy too. Because with Prize Picks, you can mix and match your player projections from different sports. So you could slide some baseball and some basketball in together. You could do this with hockey or esports or pretty much anything. But what's really cool is Prize Picks puts their members first, so all their withdrawals are fast, safe, and secure, and you can actually get your money in as quick as 15 minutes. Prize Picks uses Venmo, Apple Pay, MasterCard, and more. They make it super easy, and they've got a lot of great different promotions. It's available in more than 30 states, including California, Texas, and Georgia. Don't miss your chance. You're missing a whole lot of fun if you do. And right now, they've got an incredible opportunity where you can download the Prize Picks app today and use the code WHW, and you'll get $50 instantly after you play your first $5 lineup. That's code WHW to get $50 instantly after you play your first $5 lineup. Prize Picks, run your game. Yeah, we see highlights and clips here of the American Dream, Dusty Rhodes. I love the way they're doing it, like a photo montage. It's video, it's black and white. But now this is a clip that we as wrestling fans have seen quite a bit, because if memory serves, Dusty doesn't come out by himself. He's got his 2 younger children in tow. Of course, by this point, Kristen and Dustin are grown folks. But with his kids with Michelle, of course, we know them as Cody and Teal. They're going to be in tow with the American Dream, Dusty Rhodes here. And just seeing Cody and his American flag shirt, knowing that years later he's going to call himself the American Nightmare, and the American flag is going to be a big part of his costuming, the red, white, and blue. Man, what a cool little moment. What a cool memory. And it's almost like some weird foreshadowing on some level, isn't it?
Yeah, it is, with the red, white, and blue shirt on.
Yeah.
Just just good stuff. I'm going to have to take a snapshot of this, send it to Cody. I'm sure he knows about it, but
Oh,
man.
yeah.
I mean,
Man.
okay, so here he comes. Now, of course, Davis given us shots already, but here he comes with Cody on one side and Teal Margaret on the other. And who would have guessed that that young man in the red, white, and blue shirt would become the biggest star in wrestling in 2025?
Not a lot of people would have called it.
Nope, not a lot of people would have called it.
But the man at the podium in all black, he would have called it.
Yeah.
And I hated that he wasn't here to see it.
Me too.
Can you imagine how fucking proud Dusty would be of Cody and Dustin in 2025?
Oh, absolutely. Cody being the big star, the biggest star in the sport, and Dustin still being able to give us a hell of a match at his age.
No doubt, dude.
Yeah.
Hey, Tony, I know you don't really give a shit, but since we just talked about it, everybody in the group chat's talking about it now here live. So we got to at least mention it. Tomorrow night, as we're recording, so as folks are listening to this, Tuesday night,
Yeah.
the Timberwolves played the Thunder, and that's going to be game one on that side of things. And then on the Eastern Conference, we've got the Pacers and the Knicks on Wednesday night. That'll be at 7 o'clock. So that's going to be during some of the AEW prime time, but it'll be the Pacers and the Knicks. So we're down to the Timberwolves and the Thunder in the West, the Pacers and the Knicks in the East. Do you want to call it? What do you think the finals look like?
Well, let's see. Cleveland was the top seed in the East, so they're done, right?
We're down to Pacers and the Knicks on the East.
Right. Now who was the top seed in the West? They're out too, or was the Timberwolves the top seed? Who was?
Don't know, bud. Want to know if you think the Timberwolves or the Thunder win the series? What do you got?
I'm going to go with the Timberwolves, only because go Dogs, Anthony Edwards.
And what about the Pacers and the Knicks? Who you got?
I'm going to go with the Knicks.
Look at you. Yeah, I think a lot of people are on Team Knicks right now.
Mm-hmm.
And almost everybody I know is pulling for the Thunder. Megan, of course, is pulling for the Wolves, being a Minnesota gal.
Right.
But it's going to be fun. You know, it is interesting because it doesn't feel like it's the same old shit. It feels like we've got a whole new crop of folks in there. Of course, the Thunder have been good forever, but the Timberwolves and the Pacers and the Knicks, this is fun. I'm looking forward to this. Dusty's taking a little more time than everybody else on his speech, but he is the headliner.
Mm-hmm. And he's also being the one inducting Gordon Soley here. As you can see, Gordon's surprised look, and Gene came out. And how about that?
That's a cool deal. Nice little moment that they got to do for Gordon.
And why shouldn't he be in the first Hall of Fame, right?
They had 7,000 fans here live, which is full for all practical purposes. 4,700 paying fans. The house was $94,000. The preliminary buy rate is said to be between 0.6 and 0.77, which is roughly what Starrcade with Hogan and the Butcher drew. They think the company pay-per-view revenue will be somewhere between 1.5 and 1.9 million. So there you go. This was also the final appearance for the ring announcer, Gary Michael Capetta, who handled everything except the main event. I guess his contract expired a few weeks back and he wasn't renewed as part of a cost-cutting measure, according to Dave Meltzer. What do you remember about Gary Michael Capetta transitioning away from WCW?
Honestly, I thought Gary was a great ring announcer, but I thought when David Pinter stepped in, David did a great job.
Yeah.
But to me, Justin Roberts is still probably the best one I've ever worked with. Truck and Tom Miller was very good too. So Gordon Soley gets inducted. Good stuff. I love the old school IFB earplug he's got in.
No doubt, right?
Yeah, it's only fitting too that Gordon Soley would be inducted in the state of Florida too. Why not?
I love it.
Yeah.
Still to come, we've got Sting and Big Bubba Rogers, and then our tag match main event, which is Hulk Hogan and Randy Savage against Ric Flair and Vader. Coach Keith is with us, and he says, hey, Tony, I know you could care less about basketball and other sports, but with the NBA leaving, do you see a chance for more programming for AEW on TV? Of course, this is the last year that we're going to see the NBA on TBS and TNT.
Right.
Do you think, obviously that means less preemptions, but do you think that leads to more specials or a third show, or is it going to change anything at all?
There was discussion about a third show, and that discussion has not been bantered around much as of late. So I don't know if that is still on the table or not. But I do believe, I do believe there's a chance for us to do more specials. As a matter of fact, I really think the chance for us to do more, personally feel, is on Max, to do features and, like the WWE does. I think there's a lot of chance for us to do something there, but I just think it's good news that we're not going to be as preempted as much. And I think it's a shame, but I did. Isn't the Inside the NBA from Turner going to move over to ESPN?
Yes.
Yes. That's the right thing to do because those guys are great.
It's going to be on ESPN and ABC for the 25-26 season. And I don't know that you saw this, but the NBA on NBC is returning, and they're using the voice, the classic announcer who did the voiceover. I forget his name, but he's no longer with us. But they're going to use AI to recreate that and bring it back, I guess, with the family's permission.
Mm-hmm.
But they also announced that they've got Michael Jordan involved.
Whoa.
So Michael Jordan is going to be an analyst for the games next year on NBC,
Mm-hmm.
which is really shocking to me because I just feel like he dodged all of the criticism of the internet age, really, by and large.
Mm-hmm.
Certainly the social media criticism, but now anything he says or does is going to be
Mm-hmm.
dissected a million different ways.
Right.
And I don't know what they're paying him. I can't imagine. I mean, we know he doesn't need the money. He's probably not doing this for the money, but I know there's speculation that, he just wants to be there so he can do commentary on LeBron. I think that's silly.
That's stupid.
But the idea, I don't see an upside for Michael Jordan. Like you have cracked the code. You're hugely famous. You're making tens, if not hundreds of millions of dollars a year on your shoes. And you don't have to fucking do anything. You get a new jet that looks like, a Jordan shoe, and a new yacht that looks like a Jordan shoe every year. And you don't have to do shit.
No.
Or you could travel around and be in the limelight and be scrutinized, and everything you say be misquoted. And I mean, if he comes out and says, man, during halftime, I used to really enjoy eating oranges, that would really rehydrate me. Twitter's immediately going to say, this motherfucker hates apples. Fuck Michael Jordan. Apples were my grandma's favorite. And it's like, it doesn't matter what he says. They're going to poke holes in it and find something wrong with it. I would avoid this if I was Michael Jordan. I see no upside, but he's doing it, and I'm going to watch.
Yeah, he's probably of the ilk that he doesn't give a fuck what, at his stage in his life and his money that he makes, he doesn't give a fuck what the people think on Twitter. And he may not even read it. So that's probably, he's just doing it for fun. And if they bury me, fuck them. I'm not reading it. So
Taking the Tony Schiavone round.
yeah, right. Because if you don't read it, they don't exist. They don't. Those people do not exist in my life. So there you go. For the better. Now, Big Bubba is coming out. He came out looking like the Big Bubba back in the Jim Cornette era, right? When he was Jim Cornette's hitman, so to speak, or bodyguard, with the suspenders, the black pants. But he's talking a big game here, much differently than, if you'll recall, Big Bubba did for Jim Cornette, because back then he didn't say anything. Only thing Big Bubba back in the Jim Cornette studio days did was at times smile as we tried to make him laugh when we knew he was on camera. Sting is jacked, isn't he? Holy.
Man, he looks fantastic with all that, all greased up. Like he's
boy,
going to the titty party. He's ready.
Yeah, man.
Hey, Tony, you're old school. You ever use baby oil back in the day for relations?
No.
What about Vaseline? Was that ever something in your day?
Mm-mm.
Did you just use old-fashioned spit? What'd you do?
Can't remember back in the day.
See, I heard Vaseline, but I always felt like, man, that feels so fucking greasy and counterproductive. You got to take a shower and really work that shit out afterwards, I would imagine. So,
yeah.
But even baby oil, it feels like, I don't know if you're supposed to be putting that for internal use, but what do I know?
I know some friends back in the old Craigsville days.
Yeah.
That used Crisco.
For fornication purposes. Were they doing front door or back doors to drop off?
I don't know. They just said, man, we ran out of stuff, so we just grabbed the Crisco. That's
Wasn't
all.
there a movie that people like you watched with Marlon Brando and he used olive oil or something once? I feel like he movie that had that.
He was it was The Godfather, and they had an olive oil company that was the front for the mafia.
No, he had some sort of like weird sex movie that I never saw.
Oh, I don't know.
I'm not a Marlon Brando guy, so I don't fucking know.
Yeah, I don't know either. So only 2 matches, huh? Just 2 matches.
David Clay says he beats his dick with olive oil, so that's good to know.
Good God. We have taken that left turn again in this podcast.
I didn't mean to.
No, you do. Yes, you do mean to too.
You're the one who's offering up. You got kin folks who fuck with Crisco. Oh, Granny Schiavone taking it up the keister with Crisco.
I didn't say it was kin folk at all.
Oh,
you're the one that asked me all these random bullshit questions.
Like and what?
Then I got an answer them, and then when I answer them, you even.
Tony, do you know what an impossible task you give me every week? You tell me beforehand. I ain't watching it beforehand. Do all the fucking notes.
Yeah.
Do the ad reads.
Yeah.
Let's shield for Tony. Mm-hmm. Don't ask me who's going to win the fucking matches.
Well, just don't ask me who's going to win the match.
Prepare the graphics, and then I'll grunt. I won't fucking say what the graphics look like for a fucking radio show. I just won't even mention that.
While we have a moment, why don't let's go through the graphics for the big show coming up on Sunday? Double or nothing. Dave, bring us the graphics once again. 3, 2, 1, go. Did Dave fall asleep at the wheel here?
No, we already did it, so he's deleted them. He's got to go undelete them now.
Jeez. Okay. Let's hear for production purposes.
Well, we did it already, Tony. Okay. I mean, we didn't think we'd do the same commercial twice. I was up here trying to sell your fucking pay-per-view.
No, you were up here trying to box me in a corner.
Okay, you know what? Problem solved. I'll never fucking mention AEW on
No, you need to mention AEW again, or I should fuck it. Don't say fuck it to me.
No, it is fuck it. Because I'm trying to help you sell tickets and pay-per-views. I make exactly that many dollars on it. I don't give a fuck if you watch it or not.
You're doing great.
Antonio Santos says, I was listening to the Macho Man STW episode the other day. Besides him and DDP, was there any other wrestler you can think of that was that well prepared before their match like those two? We know that they were ahead of the times with sort of wanting to have an understanding of exactly what was going to happen. They wanted to be prepared. And that at the time garnered a lot of criticism from the guys in the business. But it did become the norm moving forward. Was there anybody else that you can think of back then, Tony, that did this?
Well, there's been a lot of talk in the backstage area, not only with AEW, but even back when I was working with MLW and WCW, that the Macho Man and Ricky Steamboat were fully prepared for that match they had at WrestleMania 3. That they had worked on it on house shows and they knew exactly what they were doing. So I really think you got to put Steamboat in that breath. I think he was another one that did. Sting just got flour in the eye or powder in the eye. And that table ain't a breaking. Did you see that? That fucking table is hard, man. I don't know if they gimmick it, but I think Steamboat became one of those guys who prepared their matches.
I wanted to mention, I don't know if you saw this, but I know that you like these sort of things. Earlier today, it was announced the Toxic Avenger is a new movie. Have you heard about this?
I have not.
And it's going to be not rated. It's starring Peter Dinklage and Kevin Bacon. And it's not rated, and it gives a warning that says it's not rated due to male nipples, beefy bulges, flashing lights / actual flashing, findom, open mouth sneezing, and it's in theaters on August 29th. This feels like your kind of movie, The Toxic Avenger. Do you think you'll see that?
I doubt it. No. I just hope they don't miscast Peter Dinklage.
He plays Andre the Giant type figure.
Yeah, it wouldn't surprise me. Look at that. That table ain't breaking, guys.
That is not an ECW table.
No, it's not. It's
It's
not
a
an AEW.
Botchamania table.
Good God. One would think that they would at least gimmick the table to break. That thing, they've tried its best. You can just see.
Hang on now, Tony. This is before everybody was gimmicking tables. At this point, the only person really using tables was Taz. I mean, not Taz, but Sabu, and then later the Public Enemy.
Okay. All right. So it really had to hurt. Wow. The big boss man slam.
You like the Big Boss Man Slam?
Mm-hmm. Good stuff. This is actually a very good match. And you know what? We've said so many times, for his size, Big Bubba was great.
Oh, no doubt. By the
Yeah.
way, if you're curious, the first time the Public Enemy broke a table in ECW, it was February 4th, 1995.
Wow.
So that would have been 3
Right.
months prior to this.
Mm-hmm. Sting picking up Bubba. Oh, God.
Sabu first broke a table years before that, of course, but the first time he broke one in WCW was September of this year against Alex Wright.
Okay. I just thought, I don't know. I just thought breaking a table was the norm.
Oh, it did become the norm. I mean, by 96, everybody was doing it.
Okay.
Hey, I do want to ask you, when we're talking about tables and with Sabu and all that recently, now that you've had a week to think on it, because we saw a little bit of everything last week. Sabu and Foley in a casino,
Yeah.
and Sabu and Terry Funk just in a barbed wire mess in the ECW arena.
A barbed
The
wire
tag
mess.
match with Rob Van Dam against Shinsei Shinzaki and Hayabusa.
Mm-hmm.
And then we saw something that a lot of people probably missed, which was Big Show and Sabu in WWE CW. Of all those matches, which one do you think is the most memorable that you have thought about since?
I thought the tag match was great, but I thought the match against Big Show was the one I remember. Maybe I don't know if it's because it's the last one, but it's because of how he sold Big Show's size, and it just shows you the depth of Sabu.
Yeah,
It just shows you that Sabu was more than just a crash guy, right?
Yes.
That's the one I remember more than anything else. But of course, it's hard to not go back and remember him picking the barbed wire out of a cut bicep.
Yeah, taping himself up while he's taking a neck breaker.
Yeah, that was incredible. Everything. I mean, those were all great choices. Dave Silva came up with the choices.
Did a great job too.
They did. You did, Dave. It was good.
How about that? A very rare compliment from Tony Schiavone for Dave.
Yeah, how about that?
By the way, the Nasty Boys in Harlem Heat got 2.25 stars. Kevin Sullivan and the Man with No Name got a 1/4 star. Wahoo and Dick Murdoch got a dud. Great Muda and Paul Orndorff got 1/2 star. Arn and Alex Wright got 3 stars. Ming and Road Warrior Hawk got a 1/4 star. And Sting and Big Bubba Rogers got 2 3/4 stars. Pretty decent. Second best match on the night, according to Dave Meltzer. Second only to Arn and Alex Wright. Now it's time for our main event. This version, I don't know why it cracks me up, but this version of Ric Flair makes me laugh. We see the recap package here. We got about 30 minutes left in the show. 18 minutes and 57 of that will be the actual match. Lord have mercy on our soul that we have to watch a Hulk Hogan match that goes 19 minutes. But oh my God, there's the Renegade. But that's what we're doing. This is WCW at the best they can do. Lord bless their heart, before the NWO comes in and changes absolutely everything. But before we do that, I wanted to hit a few more questions. We've got Jim in Buffalo who says, as Southerners, aren't you both excited for the NHL Eastern Conference final matchup of the legendary franchises Carolina and Florida? And the answer is couldn't give a fuck.
Absolutely couldn't give a fuck. See, that's a Buffalo Sabres fan saying, Ice hockey doesn't belong in the South.
Fine by me. Fucking take it back.
Fine by me. Yeah, you can have the Panthers, you can have the Hurricanes, and you
Why
can
don't you
take
come get these soccer teams too? Don't
yeah,
care for them.
exactly. Why
Make
don't
them
we
all.
why don't we move the Carolina Hurricanes to Saskatchewan, okay, or Saskatoon or Regina, and put another team up in New Brunswick or somewhere like that. As a matter of fact, take all the hockey teams, move them to Canada, push them up.
Are you a fan of Regina?
Great town,
I
great
mean,
town.
like, is it cool? Is it tight? I mean,
Boy, as soon as I got it out of my mouth, I knew what you were going with this.
no. I mean, listen, it's
No,
one of
you're a dirt bag. I get it. You're a lovable dirt bag. It's okay.
what, for complimenting a town. I've never
Yeah,
been. I've never
it's
been to Regina.
it's great. It's great. Really enjoyed my time there. I think that's where the Saskatchewan Roughriders play uh, play football in the CFL, I believe.
A, a Rough Rider?
I knew you were going to pick up on that too.
No,
Let's
I'm
see what
just
else.
saying.
Let's see.
That's a rap group. You know about stop, drop, shut them down, open up, shop.
No,
Oh, you don't know about that. I've never been to Regina though.
yeah, it's a great town. I had a chance last year to drive all over Canada. Really enjoyed it.
Any
Had some-
assholes near there, Regina?
Uh, I'm sure there's some in every city.
You said you were driving around. Did you ever find yourself in a hairy situation there?
No, I did not.
Ever do any mountain climbing in Regina? Was it a slippery slope up there?
It was not.
Okay.
Vader. Besides.
Dude, Vader looks like a movie character, does he not?
Yeah, he does. I'm surprised he was never cast as a movie badass, right?
What do you think of the purple robe here? It's got to be one of Rick's best, don't you think?
Yeah, it's a good look. It really is. I've asked you many times, do you have that robe or have you had it? Do you know where it
I have
is?
had it. Yeah, I regret selling it. It's the only one I can say I really regret letting go.
Hmm.
But listen, man, I'm just a business guy, and a guy made me an offer that was a multiple of what I made, and I took it. But
There you
I
go.
regret it. I shouldn't have because I'd have much rather had it. You know, that's the thing. Like, you get the money on something like that, and then you spend it on dumb shit. And you don't even really remote, and you're like, I should have just hung on to that. That would have been cool. But you know, the thing about that is, dude, like, what do you do with one once you got it? How do you display it?
I know. It's
Like,
it's like me and baseball cards.
yeah,
I mean,
get it.
I've spent so much money on baseball cards, and we're not talking about current stuff. I mean, I do have a lot of current stuff, but we're talking about what they call as vintage cards, right?
Oh, yeah, yeah.
And I've been as of late collecting Topps 1960, and I was going through the list of cards that I didn't have, and as you might imagine, the cards that I don't have are the ones that are really expensive. And I looked up what the Mickey Mantle from 1960 was. It's $1,500 for a fucking piece of cardboard.
Cardboard. Hey, I forgot. What card did I get you? Because I know I got you one years ago for some birthday or anniversary or some milestone, but I knew you were looking for one, and I bought
Yeah,
one.
it was Mickey Mantle 65.
Okay, there we go.
Yeah, that was a big deal. And that, as a matter of fact, that helped me complete the 65 set.
I remember you saying that you needed that.
Yeah.
And you said that here on the show that that's the only one you missed. While we were on the show, I went to eBay and bought it.
Yeah, that's great. I appreciate that. That was good. That's it's amazing. I'll go to we got a card shop here in town, and I'll just go and they see me come in. They'll say, "What are you looking for?" I'll say, "Let me see the 66 tops," and they'll give me a chair, and I'll sit down and I'll take like 2 hours and go through every card. See, I have all these checklists and everything. It's how I pass my time away. The boring piece of shit that I am.
Well, listen, we know that things can get a little tight when you're spending money on your hobby. That's why I'm excited to tell you about SaveWithConrad.com. According to a new analysis from Redfin based on the MLS data, the gap between home listings and sales prices are widening. And what that means for you is if you're considering purchasing a home, you've maybe heard over the last 5 years that it's a seller's market with bidding wars driving up the prices and no seller concessions. But that is now officially a thing of the past. Home prices are off of their highs, and many sellers are now accepting lower offers. And a lot of them are even willing to help contribute to your closing costs. So if you've been throwing your money away paying someone else's mortgage when you pay your rent, now is a great time to explore purchasing a home of your own. Someone that we helped do just that was Jacob. He's a broadband tech from Bulls Gap, Tennessee. He came to SaveWithConrad.com. We worked with him every step of the way, and now he is the proud owner of his very first home of his own. We'd love to help you just like we helped Jacob. Go right now to SaveWithConrad.com and let a member of my team run the numbers for you and get you pre-approved. There's no cost, there's no obligation, and if we can't help you save some cash, we won't waste your time. We're going to get you a plan. You see, at SaveWithConrad.com, we don't say no, we say not yet, but here's how. And I also want to mention that at SaveWithConrad.com, you get our year 3 guarantee. Most experts seem to agree that interest rates are set to fall in the next couple of years, but our exclusive year 3 guarantee allows you to refinance in the next 3 years with no new lending fees. So you get to save money right now and not waste money on another set of closing costs later. You get to lock in a better rate for your family, and more importantly, chop those monthly payments down. Because yes, if you're paying crazy high rent, you can own a house for less than your current rent. And perhaps you've got some equity hanging around in your house. Wouldn't it be nice to get rid of those credit cards? Whatever you're looking for, we can make life a little easier at SaveWithConrad.com. Get yourself a quick quote right now at SaveWithConrad.com. NMLS number 2129, equal housing lender, SaveWithConrad.com. So we're all set. The last person to come out, I can't believe this is real, is a Renegade.
Yeah.
He came out last. What do you make of that, Tony?
And did you see him run into the ring? It was like he was bow-legged getting to the ring, bless his heart. Doing the best that he could.
I mean, think about what they had him do here, though. He comes out after Vader, after Ric Flair, after the Macho Man, after Hulk Hogan. I mean, you set that guy up to fail whether you meant to or not, did you not?
Of course you did.
Hey, I want to mention some other news and notes about this show, Tony. 2 key individuals involved in this promotion had tragedies take place the week of the event. Promoter Zane Bresloff's mother passed away a few days before the show, and he missed the event. And Jimmy Hart got word of his mother passing away just before the main event started. Sadie Hart was 84, and she was on her way to the show when she was involved in a fatal head-on automobile collision.
Oh, wow.
Even though he was said to be an emotional wreck, as almost anyone would be in the situation, he still came out and played his role in the main event. I don't think we heap enough love and enough praise on Jimmy Hart, because at this point, everyone would have understood if he said, "Hey guys, I can't do it." But somehow he found the, as Lex Luger would call it, the intestinal fortitude to go out there and perform, thinking that, hey, if these fans paid to see our act, they're going to see our act. But he's walking around right now knowing that his mom died in a car crash on the way to this event. That's an unbelievable story, Tony.
That just shows you what a professional Jimmy Hart was. Now but was during that time and is obviously. But that's not the measure of a professional to have your mom.
Of course not.
But no one promoted worked as hard at his job than Jimmy Hart. He just really was all out, gave it everything. You know what I noticed here? We recently did a Saturday night's main event and recently did WrestleMania 1. Now we're here in 1995, a decade later.
Yeah.
Hogan really thinned out, didn't he, in his face?
Well, the reason he did is because of the steroid trial, Tony. He got off the gas so he could, stay out of prison.
Right.
And he comes here to WCW a little leaner, a little meaner, and we know he gets juiced up a little bit when the NWO gets going.
Sure, he still looks good, but he just
and look at the tan. I mean, he looks like he is a different ethnicity than Vader here.
No. And this is before spray tans, I believe, right?
No, this is old fashioned in the sun, Daddy.
Yeah, or in the tanning bed.
Yeah.
Yeah, he probably had his own tanning bed.
Well, I'm sure he had a tanning bed, but I also know that he was on the boat. I mean, he was living a leisurely lifestyle here in 1995.
Yeah.
On the boat, outside, in the pool, drinking beer, hanging and banging, brother.
Right. Vader, man. Wow.
You don't want to piss that guy off.
The Macho Man. Look at that color coordination with Hulk's colors. Huh?
He was thinking of everything. By the way, while we're presenting this show here around this same time, the WWF was running a show in Montreal in front of 8,500 fans. You'd see Techno Team 2000, which is Eric Watts and Chad Fortune beating Tom Pritchard and Barry Horowitz. Man Mountain Rock would beat Mantar. Tatanka would beat Bob Holly. The Blue Brothers would beat Head Shrinkers. Jean Pierre Lafitte would beat Jerry Lawler. Bret Hart would beat Hakushi. And Razor Ramon would beat Jeff Jarrett in an Intercontinental title ladder match. And then for the WWF title, it'd be Diesel over Sid. So this is what they're doing in the WWF in that era. Said differently, there's star power on both shows, but Lord, there's not a lot of great creative here in either promotion, I don't think.
No, and obviously Star Power has to be on WCW side right now. What do you think about the Macho Man and Hogan being part of it, and Flair?
Oh, yeah, for sure.
Yeah. Look at Flair in these punches, man. He was so good at this. You've heard the story about Flair punching the string, right?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
He told that story before, where that's really how he learned how to punch. He tied a string to the bottom of a lampshade,
Right.
and he would just practice punching it until he could hit it and it not move.
Right.
And then he was good to go. And I've been around Rick when he maybe had a few too many, and he would have tried some of those working punches out. And by the way, you would feel the punch hit your beard, but it would never touch your skin.
Yep, I'm the same way.
Isn't that crazy?
I felt those working punches from Flair. They were amazing.
Because you're like, how did he touch my beard, but not my person?
Sure. You just feel the wind.
By the way, speaking of the wind, Paul Heyman and Todd Gordon were pissing money away in the ring in ECW here. Mm-hmm. Around this same time, ECW is running shows in like Jim Thorpe, Pennsylvania.
Whoa. And
they would have 275 fans there to see Stevie Richards beat Hack Myers, Taz beat Raven, Tommy Dreamer beat Ron Simmons, Shane Douglas beat Too Cold Scorpio, Dean Malenko beat Eddie Guerrero, Cactus Jack go to a no contest with Sandman, and the Public Enemy work with Doug Flex against the Pitbulls and Stevie Richards. That's a pretty loaded damn card.
Damn right it is.
When you consider there's only 275 fans there.
Wow.
Money loser, buddy. It is weird to go back and look at this stuff as an adult, Tony, because as a kid, I thought ECW was like the greatest shit ever. And then as an adult, you're like, hey, man, they didn't even break even. These guys, yes, it was cool, but I don't know that anybody was even making a livable wage back then. This is tough.
They couldn't have been.
Couldn't have been.
No, absolutely couldn't have been. And, it just goes to show you just got to have that big time TV clearance, right?
Yes.
To be able to make it back then. And it's changed now because now it's not about arena shows. It's about TV. It's about TV shows. Oh man. Yeah, I love when he would chop Hogan and Hogan wouldn't sell the Flair would turn around and go, got him.
Yes.
That was good. Flair's calling spots right here. I think it's so great how Flair called spots and you didn't even realize he was doing it.
Yes.
He was like, oh, ow, ow. But it looks like he was going, ow, ow, ow. But he was actually calling spots. I mean, if you think about Ric Flair in his prime, God, what a master calling matches. That was his greatest thing. I mean, I know he was a great worker, and this is all part of being a great worker. And he did some pretty damn good stuff in the ring. But being able to call a match and being able to lay out a match that fans loved is what Ric Flair's all about.
I want to give you some news and notes from WCW at this time. It's written that William Refrigerator Perry was in the WCW offices on May 22nd. Meltzer would say it was described as a favor arranged through TBS Sports and not to be taken as any kind of sign that he would be coming in. He'd have to go through the training school program before they'd use him. And the belief is he has no idea how hard that would be. Did you meet Refrigerator Perry when he came to the office?
Did not. No, it was kayfabed. I knew he was there. I heard he was there. But
Hulk Hogan is going to make the news here. It says Hulk Hogan appeared on the NBA playoff game between the Magic and the Bulls on TNT on May 17th. It actually stemmed from a quote in the USA Today a few days earlier where Shaquille O'Neal, who's legitimately friends with Hogan and a big Hogan fan, made a comment about how rough it was and being fouled left and right. And he said he wanted Hogan to watch his back. Hogan was there with Jimmy Hart and did a 20-second promo, which made a lot of nightly newscasts. Announcer Doug Collins made a negative reference to basketball turning into the World Wrestling Federation, which gave many people watching cringe, but it said to not have been as bad as when Governor Schaefer on the WWF pay-per-view said his favorite wrestler was Hulk Hogan. He was then corrected and told Hogan was with WCW, which Collins appeared to be thrilled about being corrected about a wrestling item. So anyway, I find this interesting because just this past week, it came out a little quote from Shaquille O'Neal where he's talking about meeting all these guys back then. And he didn't go so far as to say he thought wrestling was real. But he said when he invited some of the guys to come over, Hulk Hogan and Randy Savage and some of these guys were hanging out. And he thought, wait a minute, I thought these guys hated each other. And I don't know why, but Shaquille O'Neal saying that made me laugh.
yeah, Shaquille told me this story, and this was back, when he did a match for us.
Yes.
And he was at DDP's and was doing some things. Just a great guy. And he was telling me that he was blown away that, he came to Hulk Hogan and Ric Flair's match in Orlando, right? Bash at the Beach.
Oh, look at here. Here's the
Yeah.
Giant.
Wow, the Giant looks pretty fucking awesome there, doesn't he?
He does.
Yeah.
Keep going. I'm sorry.
So anyway, he tells me that he was blown away when he went back in catering and saw wrestlers sitting together. That what?
Yeah.
It just so he didn't know who I was, and then I remember when I met him, he said, "Oh yeah, now I remember seeing you on TV all these years." It's just he's so good.
Of course, we know the Giant is he's yet to wrestle in WCW.
Mm.
And we know that when he is going to debut, it's going to be October, but this is actually his debut in WCW. We just saw it. So that appearance is the first time we would see Paul White. He's billed as the son of Andre the Giant.
Right.
And this went down on May 21st, 1995. So, Tony, this Wednesday, when you're at television, you'll be able to tell Paul White, hey, you made your WCW debut 30 years ago today.
You know what? When you think about that, that was his WCW debut.
Yes.
But we had no point of reference to how big he was.
No.
And I think that was a mistake. Have somebody stand beside him, have him come to the ring and stand up on the apron of the ring. Everybody go, what the fuck, how big he is. From that shot, he just looked like another guy.
If you had Mean Gene out there trying to chase him down for an interview and he's just holding the mic above his head,
right,
that could have worked. But
right. And I know that all this is armchair quarterbacking, but I just it's just wrong.
By the way, the talk backstage, according to Dave Meltzer, was that Alex Wright doing the job on the pay-per-view for Arn Anderson was an example of Hogan's power over Flair's. Flair supposedly wanted the TV title on Wright, and Hogan wanted it on Renegade.
Mm.
So we know that, that's what's next here.
Mm.
Among those backstage, according to Dave Meltzer, is that Victor Quinones from IWA Japan and Miguel Perez were backstage, and Jim Powers and Hercules were there as well, looking for jobs. Did you ever spend any time with Victor?
Not that I remember, no. Jim Powers, Hercules, yes, but not Victor.
It said here that Hawk will probably make more appearances on major shows. His coming in was a major secret that few in the company knew about. Mm-hmm. And it's written, if Pillman and Austin are put back together as a team, it won't happen until late July at the earliest because of Japanese commitments. But the thing that I want to ask you about that I've sort of saved for last is, Gordon Soley was, although not technically the headliner, I mean, Dusty really was, but Dusty used that as an opportunity to pay respect to Gordon Soley, and Gordon went in last. It's written here in the Observer, Gordon Soley quit this very same week leading to the event. The story we got was that he was having a problem with certain Hall of Fame inductions, but it was all worked out. I guess he was pissed off over who was being inducted or not being inducted, or I don't know, but he tried to quit. They worked it out and they put him in the Hall of Fame. Do you remember hearing about this?
I don't remember hearing about him quitting. No, not at all. But that, to me, even lends more credence to that surprise, that he was inducted. I wonder why he would have quit about a Hall of Fame induction.
Angelo Poffo.
Angelo Poffo?
Yeah.
What, he didn't like Angelo?
I don't think he believed he was worthy of being in the Hall of Fame.
Okay. Sure.
I mean, it's just
enough
silly to me, but whatever.
Yeah, but enough to quit over?
By the way, in 93, they put in Luthez, Vern Gagne, Mr. Wrestling number 2, and Eddie Graham.
Okay.
In 94, they put in Harley Race, Ernie Ladd, The Crusher, Dick the Bruiser, Ole Anderson, and the Masked Assassin, Jody Hamilton.
Okay.
And here in 95, as we saw, it was Wahoo, Dusty, Inoki, Poffo, Funk, Stud, and Soli.
Mm-hmm.
I do wonder, was Stud put in because he had just passed away? And was Angelo Poffo put in as a favor?
Yes.
Perhaps to Randy Savage.
That I do know about.
Yeah.
That I do know that when Angelo Poffo's name was mentioned as inducted into the Hall of Fame, it was because of his son.
I think everybody kind of expects that.
Yeah, but
doesn't mean he doesn't deserve it. But
no, exactly. And again, it just seems to me odd that unless Gordon Soley really had a problem with Poffo.
Yeah, there's a chance they had a personal issue. We don't know exactly, but I've always found it interesting when people get pissed off and they say, "Oh, so-and-so should have went in first. This is bullshit." And I'm like, guys, it's an honor. Who cares what order it goes? Like, it doesn't matter. They're trying to do something nice and honor you. It's not a right. It's a privilege. It doesn't pay shit. It's a work. Mm-hmm. It's not real. What the fuck? Do you want to be recognized or not? If you don't, sit the fuck home. Nobody cares.
Mm-hmm.
We're taking this shit a little too seriously.
Of course. And we take it that way because of social media.
Yes. Hey, speaking of things that maybe should be taken seriously, we talked earlier about David Crockett and his cat of nine tails at the Capitol Combat 1990 when he hit the sex shop, and that definitely happened.
He did not hit the sex shop.
Well, we all know about Mike Tenay's legendary porn collection. You told us all about that.
I don't know about that at all. I've heard of Walt Disney's.
Van Hammer is in the news here, saying he made the news again this past week. Quote, "The Atlanta area police raided some sex shops in Buckhead, including one owned by Hammer's family. Hammer, who was constantly called the WCW wrestler, was on WGST radio, ridiculing police for busting sex shops when they should be chasing real criminals."
Mm-hmm.
Tony, is there a sex toy you've seen that you thought, damn, that ought to be criminal?
No, not at all.
You're in favor of them all. You love all the sex toys.
I didn't say that. I've never seen one that is criminal. I'm not so sure I've ever been in a sex shop.
Oh, we'll fix that.
I'm sure you will. I'm sure you got one in your basement.
I don't have a basement.
Then your room above the garage.
I don't have a room above the garage.
Oh, then your boathouse.
I don't have. Okay.
With the geese. Okay.
Oh man, here comes Hulk Hogan like a house of fire. Mm-hmm. He's greased up like he's been at a Diddy party.
So I wonder if the fans are into this or not.
Hey, I do want to ask you, we haven't spent any time talking about it, but did you see the story that came out last week? This was pretty fucking cool. That Hulk Hogan and the Real American Brands are trying to purchase the Hooters intellectual property. Like, it might be called Hulk Hogan's Hooters. Hooters might make a comeback with Hulk. Are you serious? What do you think about this?
Well, is Hooters still a viable company?
No, they're bankrupt. They're done. He's trying to buy it out of bankruptcy.
Oh, got you. Okay, man. I if they were a viable company, I'd say go for it. But I guess they're bankrupt, and I don't know if he's going to pull them out or not.
I, for one, think just the idea of this feels like a publicity stunt. But if it really happens, sign me up. Once upon a time, I used to watch UFCs at Hooters, and then I would watch WWE pay-per-views at Hooters. And it does feel like, he's got the beer now and he's doing Real American Freestyle, which I'm sure they would show at Hooters. And if he could get that beer on tap at Hooters and show TKO pay-per-views, whether it's UFC or WWE or AEW, or just keep that wrestling pumping through there, just really double down on guy shit.
Yeah.
I think that could be cool, man. I mean, I don't know if you heard, but the Scores Strip Club in New York City, which was near Madison Square Garden, is now being renovated, and that's going to be called Hulk Hogan's Score Sports Bar. And the ceiling of the sports bar is going to look like the ceiling in Madison Square Garden, and it's going to be filled with Hulk Hogan shit. So if he's bringing back Scores and Hooters, he's just doubling down on guy shit. If
Right.
that's right.
So the reason that Hooters went out of business was because it was guy shit, right? Isn't that
Well,
the reason?
it was probably because it was trash food.
Really?
I mean, you enjoyed Hooters food?
I always liked their wing sauce, their spicy wing sauce.
I think their wings were mid as fuck. But the buffalo shrimp was pretty badass.
Okay. That's probably the same sauce.
And the curly fries were pretty good.
Yeah.
And Dave Silva's with us here live, and he wants to know, maybe Hooters was booby trapped. And that tells me we unfortunately are out of time, Tony.
Fans, we are out of time, and it's time for our final induction into the WCW Hall of Fame. It's person with the smelliest butthole. Ladies and gentlemen, the nominees are Dave Silva, Conrad Thompson, Antonio Santos.
Hang on. Before you do the big announcement.
Yeah. And the winner is Dave Silva. Dave, congratulations. You have won a year's supply of wings from Hulk Hogan's Hooters. Eat them all at once, Dave. We know you will.
We're desperately out of time. We'll see you next week right here on What Happened When?
What have I done with my life?
Not good. Hey, it's Conrad Thompson here to tell you a little more about what adfreeshows.com is all about. Get early, ad-free access to more than a dozen of your favorite wrestling podcasts every single week, starting at just $9. That's less than 20 cents an episode each month. And yes, you can listen to them all directly through Apple Podcasts or your regular podcast apps. How easy is that? Ad-free shows also has thousands of hours worth of bonus content and docuseries like Title Chase, Eric Fires Back, Conversations with Conrad, and The Insiders. Plus new series like The Book with David Crockett, Monday Mailbags with Mike Chioda and Nick Patrick, and a whole lot more. And you want to talk about early? You can't get any earlier than listening to the shows live. You can be a part of the live studio audience as we record the podcast. Plus, ride shotgun alongside your favorite childhood heroes for live watch-alongs, Q&As, and other interactive experiences every single month. Come on now, see for yourself what thousands of other wrestling fans from around the world have discovered, that adfreeshows.com is the best value in wrestling. Check it out today, and hey, when you do, the first week is completely free. adfreeshows.com.